Welcome to How I AI, the podcast featuring real people, real stories, and real AI in action. I'm Brooke Kramer, your host and guide on this journey into the real-world impact of artificial intelligence. For over 15 years, I've worked in creative marketing, events, and business strategy, wearing all the hats. I know the struggle of trying to scale and manage all things without burning out. But here's the game changer, AI. This isn't just a podcast. How AI is a community, a space where curious minds like you can come together, share ideas, and I'll also be bringing you exclusive discounts, free trials, and insider resources so you can test drive the latest tools and tech yourself. Because AI isn't just a trend, it's a shift. The sooner we embrace it, the more freedom, creativity, and opportunities we'll unlock. How I AI is brought to you in partnership with The Collective, a space designed to accelerate your learning and AI adoption. I joined The Collective and it's completely catapulted my learning, expanded my network, and showed me what's possible with AI. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your AI strategy, The Collective gives you the resources to grow. Stay tuned to learn more at the end of this episode or check the show notes for my exclusive invite link. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited for today's guest, Kyle. We first met at an AI mastermind at a hacker house in Bali, where I got to learn all about his thriving e-commerce brand, PetLovers. In this episode, Kyle shares how he began using AI in his business and how that quickly led to him building a custom solution tailored to his Amazon workflow. We dive into the tools he's using, the early challenges he faced with AI adoption, and his take on why AI isn't a light switch, but more of a slow down to ramp up kind of journey. If you're in the e-commerce space or curious how to get started, especially with AI as your co-pilot, this is the episode for you. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of How I AI. Please meet Kyle Binder. He is the founder of PetLovers, a cross-border pet products company focused on the pet hair removal niche. He's doing amazing work using AI, and I can't wait to share everything about him today. So, Kyle, please take it away. I'd like to open this space to give an opportunity for you to introduce yourself and share more about your background.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me on, Brooke. Really appreciate it. It was great to meet you in Bali. And yeah, so a little bit more about myself. Founder of PetLovers. I've been doing it now for going on 9 years. It's been quite a journey. I bootstrapped it myself with $2,000. That was all I had at the time and kind of come from nothing economics. And we sell lint rollers, so pet hair removal product sounds a little more fancy, but our main product is a lint roller for pet hair. Sell some other ones, but that's most of our sales. And we're in quite a few countries at this point, mostly all through Amazon. But yeah, like Canada, North America, Mexico, Europe, Australia, even Japan. And it's just grown in ways I never could have imagined. I thought at the start, if I could sell 50 lint rollers a day, then I would be the king and that would be the peak. And now every day we sell thousands. So it's been awesome.
That's incredible, the work that you've done in the online e-commerce space. I am super curious, how did you end up in that field? How does one end up selling lint rollers? Bring me to the
Yes.
evolution.
Yeah. So it was a very analytical way initially. Back, just about 9 years ago, I was looking into, it was actually very end of 2016, like how can I make money online? I was in college. I just finished my 2 years associate's degree. And I came across like social media marketing through Ty Lopez. Not everyone has the best opinion of him, but regardless of that, that's how I got into making money online. And it took a few months until I stumbled into Amazon because I did try social media marketing and I used to be a big time introvert. So I called like a Spanish restaurant near me and I was like, do you guys have anyone doing Facebook ads? And they're like, uh, the owner's not in, try later. And I was just like, okay, I am not trying ever again. And I give up. That was the extent of my willpower back then for that type of thing. I was like, yeah, let me figure out something like e-commerce where you can just hide behind your keyboard and do that. So I started looking at how to do it. There's like all these tools where you could look into the sales of products. And I was just browsing pet supplies and going down the Amazon has these bestseller categories and they get quite deep. There's many layers. And I was down the rabbit hole and I saw what I thought was a small brand doing quite well, but in reality is owned by Procter and Gamble. It's called Evercare. It's a huge, massive, $500 billion company. And
Hmm.
I was like, they're selling really well, and they don't seem to have that many reviews, which was the currency at the time, and they still are. So I did further analysis, and I was like, this seems like a good product to sell. And I very intentionally branded it though, Pet Lovers, and that's a huge part of the success of the product and the brand.
Wow.
Because originally it was going to be like Sticky Busters or some generic home goods name. And I was like, why don't I name it about something that I actually care about, which I love dogs. Not that I don't love cats as well, but I'm a big dog guy. Like I think, oh,
Yes,
they left. Yeah, they're both outside.
we were hoping the
Yeah, like I
animals
can,
would make a little appearance during today's episode.
y-
So we'll see.
yeah, they'll probably walk by, but I have a husky and a golden retriever. But yeah, so I just decided to name it Pet Lovers and focus very narrowly on building the brand initially around lint rollers. And it just kept growing. So I just kept focusing on it. And it's just been this great positive flywheel of growth.
That's fantastic. I know a lot of people really try to enter the e-commerce space, especially to find success through Amazon. And
Right.
you were able to find great success with it and take it one
Mhm.
step further because you and I were speaking during the mastermind and you were sharing about the AI integration and how you were able to do a lot of analytics and data analysis. And if you could take me through when you started using AI with your product and with your business, and then we can go into all the things that you're building and creating.
Sure. So I actually looked in preparation for this. I was like, when is the first time I used AI? And I wasn't super early on. I remember ChatGPT. I guess the official release was end of year 2022. And a lot of people were talking about it, and I just ignored it. It was like the typical head in the sand. Honestly, just the natural reflex to be lazy about something, really. It was like, I can't be bothered. But it only took a couple months, and I signed up in February of 2023, and I looked at my first prompt ever, which was like a joke prompt. I was traveling in South Africa with some of my buddies at another mastermind, ecom mastermind, and I was like, make up a funny story about four friends obsessed with productivity in South Africa. And then it did, and it was quite funny and engaging. And that was my first that was my first prompts. It took a bit for me to really, I think, realize how powerful it was. Honestly, like probably a year and a half from there. I used it ever since then, but just sporadically, here and there for tasks, like mostly copywriting. As an Amazon seller, I felt since we don't control the platform, it's not like it's our own website and I can be like, rewrite this landing page and then do all this. Like, we can't do any of that. All we can ever do um, at that time, I thought, was do copywriting for my bullet points and my images. So that's what I was using it for the first year and a half of using it, copywriting, and then like product and brand names. I launched a couple alternate brands and it's really great for naming ideas and branding and all of that.
Yes, I like to ask when was the first time someone uses AI because I just think it's a very interesting before and after
Mhm.
storytelling arch because then I like to go deeper into what were the immediate benefits you started seeing? Did you start to expand your tech stack? And where you are now in your AI use, how it's expanded into, I believe you told me about an AI system called PetLovers
Mhm.
Cortex. So we can jump
Yeah.
into that. Take me through the journey because this part can be very expanding to hear
Yeah.
how business and entrepreneurs are leveraging.
Yeah. So I'll go into the Cortex. I named it that just because, well, I think it's a fun name and I think it's good to name big projects because it is such a big project. I'm going to invest a fairly large amount of money for where we're at to build this. It'll be tens and tens of thousands of dollars. But essentially what it's going to be, and I don't recommend you start at this level unless you happen to have lots of money or I don't know, you're just super into tech, but generally you don't need to start at this level. But like you said, I think it's helpful to lay out what's possible. Um, like you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of data analysis. Like ChatGPT is great with numbers if you train it. If you just upload it, like I've uploaded it spreadsheets where there's just like 900 cells of information and it has no idea what to do because it doesn't have context, which is an issue that we face, which I'll speak about later on. What we're building is Amazon has its own API for sellers, the seller API, where you can get all of the data that Amazon offers, which is essentially, let's say there's 3 categories. There is your sales data, your inventory data, and then there's general analytics data on your brand, your search terms, your market share, all of that. And let's say there's advertising, even though that's kind of a subset of sales. So 4. And it's an enormous amount of data, the larger your sales and your SKU count is. So it's like we have been manually making these sales reports, call them the weekly business reviews, and it's like 900 cells of information. And as we've grown, we used to like manually go through it every week. It's really hard to do that. The more SKUs you have and the more data there is, it's just so much information. So what I'm doing with Cortex is essentially building a backend database where all of those, there's many reports. We're going to have probably hundreds of databases, each for a different type of report, like your advertising reports, your inventory reports, and then all the different sub reports in there. So they can be stored perfectly in there. And then we're going to integrate ChatGPT specifically, let's just say the LLM, and we're going to use ChatGPT and have a natural language processing, let's say logic backend system that's also built. So it knows how to parse the reports, all the data in there, all the numbers. So we can ask it, this might be a bit technical, but big picture, I'll tie it back in with this. We could say, what were the advertising sales on X SKU, let's say the easy rule, in the last 7 days in the US? And it'll actually answer it. And that's a very basic question. That's not why I'm building it. Maybe that's not the best question to give it because like that basic of a question doesn't really make sense for this level of effort, but it's really for the automation. It knowing that information and having intelligence, it'll be able to, let's say the advertising spend drops too much on a certain threshold that we program. These are the thresholds. If it goes above X amount, then let us know. Automatically create a task in our ClickUp. And that's the other part to this system is it's going to integrate into our ClickUp, which is our project management tool. So it has all of our operational data. It'll have all information. There'll be nothing that it doesn't know. It's a little Terminator. Hopefully it's friendly. So it's going to have a huge amount of intelligence and actually be architected to know how to parse it all. To tie it back into if you're just using ChatGPT as is, ChatGPT on its own can't do that because chats are siloed. So even though it has memory, and with 5.0 coming out, the memory is going to be way better. For all we know, it might actually be general intelligence. I think it's going to be just short of general intelligence, and that's why I'm doing this, creating this. If it is general intelligence, I might just be wasting my time because then we could just use AI agents, or not wasting time, but wasting a lot of money because we can just use AI agents to create it. And I don't have to spend a huge amount of money, but I don't think we're going to be there in the next month or two. I think like 6 to 12 months is when we're going to be there. Just create it now because I think it'll provide a lot of value to us.
Just bringing it together, you enter the space, which what a lot of people do, and you started playing around with LLMs. You immediately saw the limitations. And because you already have a fully functioning running business, you know exactly what your pain points are unique to you. You decided to work with a professional team and hire people and create a solution that's designed to integrate all of your project management and solutions that are specific to Amazon sales and Amazon analytics. So I think that's incredible. Are you planning on maybe packaging this and selling it to other Amazon users?
I have thought about it, but the way I think is I don't know if it would make sense without significantly more development to make it commercially viable. It would probably need a lot more attention and effort. And I just don't know if I'm willing to do that to take away attention from pet lovers because I'm really focused
Mm.
and dialed into that. And I think I'd rather just grow that, even though this probably could stand alone as a standalone product because most, I mean, I've asked other Amazon sellers, I've asked in all the groups I'm in. I was hoping someone else has done this already, and maybe someone has, and I'm just not in those groups, but I'm in quite a few, like hundreds and hundreds of sellers, and the community is not that big. Um, and no one has spoken up and said that they've built something like this. But suspiciously, I have 150 Upwork applicants that all claim to have built this before, which is very, very frustrating because they definitely haven't. I want to just tell them I know 400 of the Amazon sellers that this would apply to, all 400 of them, and none of them have done it. So you're lying.
Ooh, that's cool that you have such a supportive community in the Amazon space, which leads me to my next question. Did you have any challenges when you first started entering the space of e-commerce and you started hiring, expanding your team, and integrating AI? Like, walk me through that. Was there any resistance? Was it hard for you to restructure your workflow?
It was really hard to figure out how to do it productively. Yes, because like I said, I just felt, well, beyond copywriting, what can it really do? And now I'm on the other end of the spectrum of what can't it do? Because it can everything in our ClickUp. I was just rewriting some internal company docs, and it's so good. It did what it would normally take me an hour in literally 2 minutes. And people say that all the time at this point with AI. But yeah, the problem was ignorance, not knowing what you don't know. That was the biggest thing. And I was looking up what are people doing? And I just kept coming across the same thing like, oh, for Amazon sellers, do copywriting, maybe some of your listing back end stuff, da 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 da. And as silly as it sounds, when I started making exponential progress is when I literally asked ChatGPT point blank, how can I use you more effectively? And I gave it all of the information on my brand and me. I gave it as much. That's the key tip I would give to any beginner. Even if you don't, let's say if you have no idea what you want to sell, you don't know what you want to do, give it as much information as you can on yourself. And then ask, this is me, this is where I'm at, this is the money I have to do whatever X thing I'm thinking, or I don't know what I want to do at all, but here's my personality assessment, the information on myself. What do you advise me to do? That's the biggest way that I'm using it. The most productive way I'm using it now is as a professional consultant at the
Mm.
level of I've paid plenty of working professionals absurd amounts of money per hour, from like $200 to $500 for tax advice, different like a business attorney. And ChatGPT is, it's not flawless. I'm not saying it can replace your accountant,
Mhm.
but it can replace 90% of your work. It can, let's say it can augment it. I still recommend having a professional. I still do, but I need a lot less of their time now. And when
Mm.
I do meet with them, I am so much more informed than before. And they're happy too. They're happy about it. They're like, oh, he knows what he's talking about. But ultimately, be careful because there's that meme that's like, yeah, I passed the bar with ChatGPT and my first client got the death penalty for a parking ticket or something like that. And like ChatGPT is still wrong and it does hallucinate and you got to be of that. So yeah, that's I think a big tip I have for if you don't know how to use it is just start with yourself and information on your company and then it'll give you pretty good ideas. I found in my experience.
I love that input because I also, when I'm working with ChatGPT, I'm very skeptical. I even will talk to it like a human and be like, are you sure? Are
Mhm.
you positive? Can you check your work? Let's go over this again. And I make
Yeah.
sure to really interrogate it and not just take everything as factual and true. especially when it's been a really long chat or project or conversation and it's
Hmm.
starting to just kind of like become what I say, yes, man, in the end, where it's just like, yes, yes, yes. I interrogate it like a lawyer myself when I'm speaking to
I
it.
recommend you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good practice. For
Hmm.
where we're at now, maybe once 5.0 comes out, you don't have to do that as much, I would imagine. For sure, you'll have to do it less, but still, the more important something is, especially when we're talking legal, make sure you're pressing it. And then I also recommend still getting a real legal counsel to run that by. But when we're talking more normal things like, okay, especially a beginner, you don't know about accounting, invoicing, bookkeeping, it's great for that. And you don't have to worry about going to jail. You're not going to, oh, I chose the wrong expense code for this invoice because of ChatGPT and now I'm arrested. Like, you'll be fine. So it's really great for the more beginner and even intermediate level type administrative financial decisions.
Yes. You touched a little bit about the efficiencies and time saved. I had the opportunity to meet one of your business partners when we were in Bali. How many people
Mhm.
on your team are they all using ChatGPT? And bring me
Mhm.
through that efficiency of before and after when you started integrating AI tools. Maybe you even work with things other than ChatGPT, but if you can highlight yourself and your team's biggest benefits when it comes to integrating AI.
Really, as a team, I still feel like only in the last 2 months are we starting to hit our stride with AI. But everyone on our team, minus maybe our accountant, he's a little behind. He says he has security concerns about like financial data and AI. Literally just told me that the other day. And I was going to tell him, don't have concerns because our entire database, all of our Google Drive is already connected to ChatGPT. So it already knows everything, or it has the ability to, anyways. Um, but he's in a different position because he's not part of ops. Let's say our operations team, which is about 5 people, including me. The total team size is 8. Pretty modest team for where we're at, but I'm pretty proud of it because I think we have a very pretty strong team. We have a lot of output for our team size and our sales size. Let's say as a company, the revenue per employee is pretty solid. And so for the ops team and how much they're using ChatGPT and how it's benefited the business, while we don't have strict management systems, I don't have a clean before and after because we didn't have, like, we have task management set up and we can see the number of tasks that has increased. And it's not just about increasing tasks. So you can say, look, I'm doing more, but the meaningful output has increased as well. Our growth is increased. Our sales are increasing more. In the last 2 months, we had a bit of a slowdown, but in the last 10 months period, our growth has accelerated more than the previous like 2 years. And
Wow.
yeah, I think a big part of that for me, especially, is using AI, especially for organizational growth and strategy and just a number of things. But going into each person, let's say Kevin, which is who you met in Bali,
Mhm.
also is constantly using it for all types of things. I'm not in his chat GPT, so I can't necessarily
Right.
use it. But I know just from glancing over and us talking, he's constantly using it for new ideas, ideation. Okay, product research, let's say. Can you give me 10 examples of products trending in X specific niche? Let's say we came across this pet hair removal glove. There's this specific glove that's been trending on TikTok. And link that and say, do deep research on this, look into the cost, et cetera, et cetera. And that's a specific real example um, of something that he would do.
Awesome. My cat wanted to come and say hello to you. So I thought it was very fitting for this episode to actually let my cat make an appearance. I'm in the process of going on YouTube soon.
Awesome.
Pretty soon, everybody will be able to meet my little kitty.
YouTube loves cats.
They do? Okay, great. Then we're going to be a hit on
Well,
YouTube.
it's because everyone loves cats, you know.
Thank you for sharing a little bit more about just the efficiency of your team. And I think you highlighted a really important thing where it's not immediate. It's a
No,
relearning.
it's not
It's
a
a,
light switch.
yes, there's a restructuring.
Mhm.
Everybody's
Yes.
completely learning something new and getting used to using these tools and putting in new systems into place. And it can take time. I once worked for a tech SaaS company in New York, and they would term these phrases as the slow down to ramp up. And I think
That's
that's
great.
what, yes, I think that's what everybody's experiencing when they go into AI. They want that light switch effect, but it's really the slow down to ramp up. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. My next question will be a little bit more of a fun one. I love that you're already solution oriented. You're creating systems and platforms that are unique to you. If you were to wave a magic wand and create something from the beginning right now that would support you in the AI space, what does that look like? What is not out there yet? If you could make something that's a huge pain point for the e-commerce space, what would that be?
So I don't want to be a cheater and just reiterate the same thing, but I'll say it would be what I'm creating now, but better. So I'll expand on it.
Mhm.
What I think's missing specifically in e-commerce in many businesses, but it's a big problem in e-commerce, is that there are so many fragmented, disconnected softwares. So to give you an example, before creating our current system, it's within Odoo. Odoo is an ERP. There's like NetSuite, um, ones I think there's like Precom, Scoopon, Bright Pearl. There's all these providers. ERP, enterprise resource planning, your accounting, your inventory, maybe your project management. But anyways, most sellers, until they're at a certain level, usually going to be mid seven figures, will not think about an ERP. But I think whether you're at mid seven figures or you're at $10,000 a month in sales or you're at 10 million, there should be a standardized software that actually integrates everything properly. Because before we were using, and we're still phasing out of it, we're basically done, but we had a spreadsheet for our inventory. We had multiple, like 5 different spreadsheets. We had a profit tracking tool. We have to track metrics in our ClickUp that overlap with these previous two, basically duplicating data. You're re-entering your cost of goods in all three because they're not connected. And then ultimately the accounting system itself in Xero, we're using Xero before. Also, you have to enter all that information in again. And I've talked to other people and they agree. They're like, yeah, we use spreadsheets and we use these because that's what's available. But what we're developing with our ERP is instead of entering your cost of goods, the price of your products into 4 different systems that are all disjointed, it's one, and then it's put across 4 different locations within the same system. So this is like a spiritual thing, but it also applies in business. Like all is one, one is all. It's better to have it all in one system. If you're not running, like maybe if you're running a security company and you need to silo everything and break it all apart, but like centralizing your data and operations is so much easier than using 5 different softwares compared to if you could just use one. So my dream is right now we're still using Odoo and ClickUp. Odoo has project management within it, but it's so bare bones. And I don't want to redevelop ClickUp, basically, is what I'm
Mhm.
saying. So I use ClickUp, but the dream would be a all-in-one software tool that has enterprise level accounting, inventory management, project management, document storage, just everything in one. And I'm certain that's being worked on right now. Like
Yep.
it'll probably next 2 years because it just doesn't make sense to use 7 different softwares that all overlap and have similarity.
Yes. I think that we're still in that initial phase where everybody's building, and pretty soon different platforms will start to buy out one another. I said this well over a year
Or
ago.
integrate very
Yeah.
smoothly. I think that's
Yes.
going to be big for survival of businesses because if
Yes.
they're not willing to integrate, all these companies are making their APIs communicate with each other.
Hmm.
If you're not, you're going to be in big trouble because if company B is not integrating, company A is going to integrate or just build that tool for company B. And then all of company B's customers are going to go to company A because they're going to be like, this is better and easier
Yes.
and probably cheaper on top of that.
I always say stay non-committal when it comes to what software and solutions you're using, because something new can come out the gate tomorrow that's better and more
Yeah.
efficient and more inclusive of your project workflow, like you shared. And I said this over a year ago. I was already frustrated in the beginning with so many things coming out. I said, what's the Microsoft Office solution for what it is that I need
Yeah.
support on? There needs to be more
Yeah.
like that, right? So that we're all synced up in that way. So great thought. And I agree, a lot of people are out there with our same ideas, making it happen. I'm so excited for the next year or two to see what comes
Mhm.
out and how we're able to scale our pursuits. I would love to ask, since you have found great success in the e-commerce space and the Amazon space, what is one key takeaway you'd love listeners to have from this episode? Maybe you could speak directly to someone that's wanting to enter the space for the first time.
Yeah. I would say don't get analysis paralysis. One step at a time. Like Rome wasn't built in one day. I love that saying, cliche, but it's true. We all know Steve Jobs in the garage. There's so many of these massive companies. People start out small. So I think that was a problem for me, and I think almost everyone. There are some people who don't suffer from this, but I think in the age of exponentially increasing information, it makes it even harder for a lot of people because there's just infinite information. And there always has been, but the difference is now you're aware of it. Um, so make a plan, just do it and accept that mistakes are almost a mathematical function of taking action. So if you take 100 actions, certain percentage will have mistakes. So basically, the more actions you take, the more mistakes quantity wise you will have as a result of taking lots of action. And if you can think of it that way, I think it's very helpful because it gets you out of analysis paralysis. It's like, I'm going to just make a plan and I'm going to do it. And yes, there's going to be mistakes, but that's just a result of taking action.
I love that little tidbit. I'm already thinking in my head of all the little reels I want to make of our episode, because you've had such amazing points to make here and there. So thank you so much. If listeners want to reach out to you and they want to connect to you, I will, of course, link your product in the show notes so people can check it out. What's the best way to reach out to you?
Sure. Yeah. So I mostly use Instagram, my name, Kyle_Binder, on Instagram. If not, then Facebook. Those would probably be the best ways.
Is there a plan to expand your products beyond hair
Yes.
removal? Yeah.
Yeah, very much. So we have a number of products completely outside of like pet hair. Actually, just maybe two. We have a number outside of lint rollers and just more broadly in pet hair. But then we have one top of mind that's nothing to do with pet hair that we've been developing for a year, which is actually basically a really convenient cat litter scooper. Maybe of interest to you if you don't have a self-cleaning litter box. It's like hopefully the best litter scooper if you don't use a self-cleaning litter box is the goal with this one. And beyond that, then we're thinking about medium term doing supplements, which is
Cool.
something that's really interesting to me. Mhm.
Yes, the pet CBD space is very big.
Yeah. Yeah, it's huge. I remember checking into it like 5 years ago and actually thinking, I think at that time there was a good amount of sales, but I was like, this is a fad. And like It's definitely not a fad.
Not a fad. Awesome.
No.
Thank you for taking the time. I believe you're joining in from Thailand today. Where in the world are you? I forgot to ask.
Yeah, I am in Bangkok, Thailand right now.
Cool. A part of the world I haven't been to yet, but maybe one day. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak today. I really appreciate you. And let's stay in touch. I wish you continued success with everything that you've built with Pet Lovers. And maybe I'll have to buy some sticky hair removal for my pet.
Yeah, and thank you so much again for having me on, Brooke. I wish you continued growth of your podcast. I saw that you just hit a milestone the other day. You had posted on hitting, it was like 5,000 downloads, which is actually amazing, I think, considering you haven't been doing it for too long. And there's like a billion podcasts, so it's quite a big metric. Because I was just speaking to someone developing apps, and they're like,
Mhm.
getting to 2,000 downloads is like amazing. And I was like, wow. Because you get so desensitized by seeing such large numbers, but if you think about it, like 5,000 is a lot of people. So, yeah,
Yes, I agree. I think that it's important to really envision what would it look like for 5,000 people to be in a single
right.
room. And I am also just so grateful for everybody that tunes in each and every week and to amplify stories like yourself. So thank you again.
Yep. And thank you.
Wow, I hope today's episode opened your mind to what's possible with AI. Do you have a cool use case on how you're using AI and want to share it? DM me, I'd love to hear more and feature you on my next podcast. Until next time, here's to working smarter, not harder. See you on the next episode of How I AI. This episode was made possible in partnership with the Collective AI, a community designed to help entrepreneurs, creators, and professionals seamlessly integrate AI into their workflows. One of the biggest game changers in my own AI journey was joining this space. It's where I learned, connected, and truly enhanced my understanding of what's possible with AI. And the best part, they offer multiple membership levels to meet you where you are. Whether you want to DIY your AI learning or work with a personalized AI consultant for your business, the Collective has you covered. Learn more and sign up using my exclusive link in the show notes.